right there, because you've just stumbled onto something special. Picture this, a guy, caught in a moment so intense, so forbidden, that his heart's racing and his mind screaming at him to walk away, but he can't. Why? Because the woman standing in front of him, the one he's trying so hard not to fall for, is his best friend's little sister. And trust me, this isn't just some cute, nostalgic childhood crush resurfacing. No, this is the kind of story that'll have you leaning closer to your screen, wondering, how the heck did they get here? And what happens next? In the next few minutes, I'm gonna take you deep into a tale of forbidden love, tangled loyalties, and secrets that could tear everything apart. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into a world where every choice feels like a gamble, and every glance could mean disaster. So grab your snacks, hit that like button, and stick with me, because by the end of this, you're gonna get the answers you came for. But I'm warning you now. Once you start, you won't be able to look away. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever wanted something or someone so bad that it felt like the whole world was telling you it's wrong, but your heart just wouldn't listen? Maybe it's a dream you're chasing, a risk you're dying to take, or yeah, even a person who's completely off limits. That's exactly where our guy, Ethan, is at. He's the kind of guy you'd probably vibe with. Loyal, funny, always there for his crew. He's spent years being the ultimate best friend to Jake, the kind of brother from another mother who'd take a bullet for him. They've got history, late-night gaming sessions, road trips, and enough inside jokes to fill a book. But then there's Mia, Jake's little sister. You know the type. Always tagging along when they were kids, pigtails bouncing, asking a million questions, and somehow always stealing the last slice of pizza. Back then, she was just a kid. Someone Ethan ruffled her hair and teased like she was his own little sister. Fast forward to now, and Mia's not that kid anymore. She's grown up, confident, with a spark in her eyes that Ethan can't ignore, no matter how hard he tries. And here's where it gets messy. Ethan's starting to see her in a way he knows he shouldn't. Every time she laughs, every time she brushes past him, it's like a jolt he can't shake. But here's the kicker. Crossing that line could cost him everything. His friendship with Jake. His place in their tight-knit circle. Maybe even his own sense of who he is. You're probably thinking, Ethan dude, just walk away. But can he? And more importantly, can she? That's the mystery we're diving into, and I promise you, it's gonna keep you guessing. Now, I know what you're feeling right now. You're curious, maybe even a little invested already. Because who doesn't love a story where the stakes are sky high and the heart's on the line? You're wondering how Ethan and Mia got to this point, what's driving them toward each other, and whether they're gonna crash and burn or find a way to make it work. That's exactly why you need to stick with me. This isn't just about romance, it's about loyalty, trust, and the kind of choices that define who you are. You've probably been in a spot where you had to choose between what's right and what you want. Maybe you're there now, wrestling with a decision that could change everything. That's why this story's gonna hit you right in the feels. Ethan's not some perfect hero, and Mia's not just a damsel waiting to be swept off her feet. They're real, flawed, and caught in a situation that's as complicated as it gets. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of you that's already rooting for them, isn't there? You want to know if love can win when the odds are stacked against it. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're gonna find out, but only if you keep watching. I'm not gonna spoil it yet, but I will say this. Every twist, every turn, every heart-pounding moment is building to an answer that'll leave you speechless. Let's talk about Mia for a second, because she's not just the little sister in this story. She's a force. Imagine someone who spent her whole life in the shadow of her big brother and his best friend. Always the tag-along, always the afterthought. But now she's stepping into her own power. She's got dreams, a career she's hustling for, and a confidence that makes people stop and stare. But here's what makes Mia so fascinating. She's not oblivious to Ethan's struggle. She sees the way he looks at her, the way he hesitates, the way he's torn between what he wants and what he thinks he owes Jake. And maybe, just maybe, she's feeling that same pull. You're probably wondering, does she know how dangerous this is? Is she gonna push him over the edge? That's the thing about Mia, she's not playing games, but she's not backing down either. There's a moment, early on, where she catches Ethan's eye across a crowded room. It's one of those moments where time slows down, where you can feel the air crackle with possibility. But then Jake walks in, laughing, clueless, and the spell breaks. Or does it? That's the kind of tension we're working with here. And it's only the beginning. You're gonna want to see how Mia navigates this, how she balances her own heart with the loyalty she feels to her brother. And trust me, when you see what she does next, you're gonna be glued to your screen. I want you to do something for me right now. Think about the last time you were caught between two impossible choices. Maybe it was a friendship you didn't want to risk, a family tie you couldn't break, or a love that felt like it could ruin everything. That's the space Ethan and Mia are living in, and it's why you're already hooked. You're not just watching their story. You're feeling it. You're wondering if Ethan's gonna betray his best friend, if Mia's gonna cross a line she can't uncross, and what happens when Jake finds out. Because let's be real. Secrets like this don't stay buried forever. There's a storm coming, and it's gonna test everyone. Will Ethan and Mia give in to what's pulling them together? Will Jake forgive them if they do? And what's the cost of following your heart when it could break everyone else's? These are the questions that brought you here, and I'm promising you now, you're gonna get answers. But here's my master move to keep you locked in. I'm not giving you the easy way out. This isn't a story where everything wraps up neatly in the first 5 minutes. Every moment you watch is gonna pull you deeper, make you care more, until you're shouting at your screen, begging for resolution. So, don't you dare click away. You're in this with me now, and I'm not letting you go until we get to the truth. Let's set the scene a little more, because the vibe of this story is everything. Imagine a small coastal town in California, the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where summer nights are filled with bonfires on the beach and the sound of waves crashing in the distance. It's nostalgic warm, but there's an undercurrent of tension, like the calm before a storm. Ethan, Jake, and Mia grew up here, their lives tangled together by years of shared memories. But now, as adults, they're back for a summer that's about to change everything. There's a reunion party, old friends catching up, music blaring, and that's where it all starts to unravel. Ethan's trying to keep it cool, joking with Jake like old times, but then Mia walks in. She's not the awkward teenager he remembers. She's radiant, magnetic, and every guy in the room notices. Ethan's doing his best to play it off, but when she smiles at him, it's like the rest of the world fades away. You can feel the heat, the danger, the what if. And that's when Jake slaps Ethan on the back, grinning, saying something about how Mia's all grown up now. Oh Jake, if you only knew. That moment, that single fleeting moment, is where the spark ignites. But here's the thing about sparks, they either fizzle out or they set everything on fire. Which one's it gonna be? You're dying to know, aren't you? Good. Because you're about to find out. Before we go any further, I want to make a deal with you. You stick with me through this video, and I'm gonna give you a story that's worth every second of your time. You're not just here for drama. You're here for truth. You want to know if love can survive when it's built on a foundation of betrayal. You want to know if friendship can withstand a secret this big. And yeah, you want to know if Ethan and Mia are gonna get their happily ever after, or if they're doomed from the start. I see you, and I'm not gonna let you down. This story's got everything. Heart, conflict, and those gut punch moments that make you rethink everything you thought you knew. But I need you to trust me. Don't skip ahead, don't click away, because every second of this is leading to something you won't see coming. You're part of this now, part of Ethan and Mia's world, and you're gonna feel every high and low right along with them. So, let's talk about what's at stake here. Ethan's not just risking his friendship with Jake. He's risking the life he's built, the trust he's earned, the family he's found in Jake and Mia's world. And Mia? She's got her own battles, proving herself in a world that still sees her as Jake's little sister, chasing dreams that feel just out of reach, and now, grappling with feelings she never expected. You're gonna see them struggle, fight, and maybe even fall. But will they rise together, or will it all come crashing down? Here's where I'm gonna leave you hanging, because I'm not giving you the full picture just yet. Picture Ethan and Mia, standing on that beach at midnight, the party long over, the waves crashing in the dark. They're alone, closer than they should be, and the air's thick with everything they're not saying. Ethan's hand brushes hers, and for a split second, it feels like they could throw caution to the wind and give in. But then, headlights. A car pulls up, and Jake's voice cuts through the night, calling for Mia. The look on Ethan's face, the way Mia's breath catches. You can feel the weight of what's about to happen. What did Jake see? Does he know? And what's gonna happen when the truth comes out? You're on the edge of your seat, aren't you? Good. Because this is just the beginning, and the answers you're craving are coming. But you've got to stay with me to find out. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, And let's dive into the next part together. Trust me, you're not gonna want to miss what happens next. The ocean air was heavy that night, carrying the kind of salty chill that clings to your skin and makes you feel alive. But for Ethan, it was doing nothing to cool the fire raging in his chest. He stood there on the beach, Mia just a step away, her silhouette barely visible against the moonlight glinting off the waves. That moment when his hand brushed hers, it wasn't planned, wasn't something he could take back, and it was like the universe was daring him to cross a line he'd sworn he'd never touch. Then Jake's voice sliced through the darkness, calling Mia's name, and Ethan's heart dropped like a stone. He could see the headlights of Jake's beat-up Jeep cutting through the night, and in that split second, everything felt like it was teetering on the edge of collapse. Did Jake see them standing too close? Did he catch the way Mia's breath hitched, or the way Ethan froze, like a kid caught sneaking cookies before dinner? Mia turned, her eyes meeting Ethan's for a fleeting moment, and there was something there. Fear, maybe, or defiance, or both. She called back to Jake, her voice steady in a way Ethan's never could have been, and started walking toward the car. Ethan stayed rooted to the spot, the sand cold under his feet, watching her go, knowing that whatever had just happened between them wasn't over. Not by a long shot. You're probably sitting there, heart pounding, wondering what Jake's gonna say, what Mia's gonna do, and whether Ethan's about to lose everything he's ever cared about. Well, stick with me, because this story's about to get even messier, and I'm gonna peel back the layers of this coastal town drama to show you just how deep this forbidden love runs. Let's rewind a bit, because to really get why this moment on the beach feels like a bomb about to go off, you need to know the world Ethan, Mia, and Jake come from. This isn't just any small town. It's Havens Cove, a sleepy little spot on the California coast where the biggest news is usually who caught the biggest fish or whose kid got into college. It's the kind of place where everybody's got a story, and everybody's got secrets. Ethan, Jake, and Mia grew up running wild here, building sandcastles, sneaking beers from Jake's dad's cooler, and dreaming of lives bigger than the town's faded welcome sign. Ethan was the dreamer, always talking about seeing the world, maybe becoming a photographer, capturing moments that mattered. Jake was the anchor, grounded, loyal, the guy who'd stay in Havens Cove forever if it meant keeping his family close. And Mia? She was the spark, always a little too curious, a little too bold, scribbling poetry in her notebook and swearing she'd leave this town and never look back. Back then, they were a trio, unbreakable, even if Mia was always a few steps behind, trying to keep up with the boys. But time has a way of changing things, doesn't it? Now they're all back in Havens Cove for the summer, pulled together by a high school reunion and a promise to relive the good old days. Except the good old days are gone, and what's left is a tangled web of unspoken feelings, buried grudges, and a secret that's starting to claw its way to the surface. You're probably thinking, okay, but what's the secret? And I'm gonna give you a hint. It's not just about Ethan and Mia. There's something else, something bigger, lurking in the shadows of this town, and it's about to make everything 10 times more complicated. Let's talk about Jake for a minute, because he's not just the oblivious big brother in this story. Jake's the heart of Havens Cove, the guy who stayed when everyone else left, taking over his dad's auto shop and keeping the family together after their mom passed a few years back. He's got this easy charm, the kind that makes you feel like you've known him forever, but there's a weight to him now, a tiredness in his eyes that wasn't there when they were kids. Ethan sees it, and it kills him, because Jake's always been his rock. They've been through everything together. First heartbreaks, stupid fights, even the time they got stranded on a fishing boat with a dead engine and had to swim back to shore. Jake's the one person Ethan's never lied to, never betrayed. But now, every time Ethan looks at Mia, he feels like he's betraying Jake in the worst way possible. And here's where it gets tricky. Jake's not blind. He's noticed Mia's been different lately, quieter, like she's carrying something heavy. He's noticed Ethan's been off, too, dodging questions and avoiding him more than usual. Jake's starting to wonder if there's something he's missing, and that suspicion is like a slow poison, creeping into every conversation, every laugh. There's a moment, a few days before that night on the beach, where Jake pulls Ethan aside at the auto shop, grease on his hands, and asks, "You good, man? You seem, I don't know, distant." Ethan lies, of course, says it's just work stress, but the guilt's eating him alive. You're probably wondering if Jake's gonna figure it out, if he's gonna catch Ethan and Mia in a moment they can't explain away. And let me tell you, that question's about to get a lot louder. Now, let's add another layer to this, because Mia's got her own story, and it's not just about Ethan. She's back in Havens Cove after a year in San Francisco, chasing a career in graphic design and trying to prove she's more than just Jake's little sister. But the truth is, things didn't go as planned. The big city chewed her up and spit her out. Her dream job turned into a string of freelance gigs that barely paid the rent, and her confidence took a hit. Coming back to Havens Cove wasn't her choice. It was her only option after her savings ran dry. She's crashing at Jake's place, sleeping in her old bedroom, surrounded by posters and memories that make her feel like she's gone backward. But Mia's not giving up. She's got a side hustle designing logos for local businesses, and she's determined to save enough to get back to the city and try again. Except now, there's Ethan. He's not just her brother's best friend anymore. He's the steady, quiet presence that makes her feel seen in a way she hasn't in years. There's a moment, a few weeks back, where they're at a bonfire, and Ethan hands her a beer, their fingers brushing just a little too long. He doesn't say anything, but the way he looks at her, like she's the only person on that beach, sticks with her. She knows it's dangerous, knows Jake would lose it if he even suspected, but there's a part of her that's tired of playing it safe. And here's where another mystery creeps in. Mia's been getting these anonymous texts, cryptic little messages like, "You don't belong here," and "Leave before it's too late." At first, she thought it was a prank, but they're starting to get under her skin. Who's sending them? Is it someone in town who knows about her and Ethan? Or is it tied to something else? Something from her past she hasn't told anyone? You're probably leaning in now, wondering what Mia's hiding, and I'm not gonna lie, that's a question worth asking. Let's throw in another curveball, because Havens Cove isn't just a backdrop. It's practically a character in this story, with its own secrets and subplots bubbling under the surface. There's a rumor going around town about a developer sniffing around, looking to buy up land and turn the sleepy beachfront into a fancy resort. It's got everyone on edge, especially Jake, whose auto shop is on a prime piece of real estate. He's been getting pressure to sell, and it's not just friendly offers. There's been vandalism at the shop, broken windows, and slashed tires, and Jake's starting to think it's not random. Ethan's been helping him keep an eye on things, but it's one more thing pulling Ethan's focus, one more reason he's trying to keep his feelings for Mia locked down. Meanwhile, there's Sarah, Mia's old high school friend, who's back in town and stirring up trouble. Sarah's always been the life of the party, but she's got a sharp edge now, a bitterness that comes from a failed marriage and a life that didn't turn out like she planned. She's noticed the way Ethan and Mia look at each other, and she's not above using it to her advantage, maybe to settle old scores or just to feel like she's in control of something. Sarah's the kind of person who knows everyone's business, and she's dropping hints that she knows more than she's letting on. Is she the one sending Mia those texts? Or is she just a red herring in a town full of secrets? You're probably starting to see how tangled this web is, how every choice, every glance, is pulling Ethan, Mia, and Jake closer to a breaking point. The tension's building, isn't it? You can feel it, that knot in your stomach, because you know something's gotta give. Ethan's walking a tightrope, trying to be the friend Jake needs while fighting feelings for Mia that are getting harder to ignore. Mia's caught between her dreams, her past, and a connection with Ethan that feels like it could be everything, or destroy everything. And Jake, poor Jake, he's starting to sense the cracks in the foundation of his world, even if he doesn't know why. That night on the beach, when Jake called Mia's name, it wasn't just a moment, it was a warning shot. The next morning, at the diner where everyone in Havens Cove ends up eventually, Jake's quieter than usual, stirring his coffee like it's the most interesting thing in the world. Ethan's there trying to act normal, but every time Mia walks by with a coffee pot, refilling cups, he's hyper-aware of her. And Mia? She's avoiding Ethan's eyes, but there's a flush on her cheeks that wasn't there before. Jake notices, and when he finally speaks, it's to ask Mia why she was out so late last night. The question hangs in the air, heavy, and Mia laughs it off, saying she just needed some air. But Ethan knows, and Mia knows, that Jake's not buying it. You're probably holding your breath right now, wondering if this is the moment it all blows up. Is Jake gonna confront them? Is Mia gonna crack under the pressure? Or is something else, those texts, the vandalism, Sarah's scheming, gonna throw them all into chaos before they can even figure out what they mean to each other? I'm not gonna give you the answer just yet, because this story's far from over. You're in deep now, and the only way out is to keep watching, because what happens next is gonna change everything. The air in the diner felt thicker than the coffee Mia was pouring, and Ethan could barely breathe as Jake's question hung between them like a guillotine waiting to drop. Mia's laugh, light and forced, did little to ease the tension, and when she mumbled something about needing air last night, Jake just nodded, his eyes narrowing ever so slightly. Ethan gripped his mug, his knuckles white, praying Jake wouldn't push further, But the silence that followed was worse. It was the kind of silence that screams suspicion. Mia moved on to another table, her smile tight, and Ethan could feel her avoiding his gaze, like looking at him might give everything away. You're probably sitting there, heart racing, wondering if this is it, if Jake's about to call them out right here in the middle of Havens Cove's greasy spoon. But life doesn't always give you the explosion you're expecting, does it? Sometimes, it's the quiet moments, the ones where nobody says what they're really thinking, that cut the deepest. And that's exactly where this story's headed. Straight into a storm nobody saw coming. As Ethan tried to choke down his pancakes, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You think you know her but you don't. His stomach twisted, and for a second, he wondered if Mia wasn't the only one getting cryptic messages. You're hooked now, aren't you? Good, because this forbidden love drama's about to take a turn that'll leave you gasping. And I'm not letting you go until we unravel the chaos that's about to unfold in this small-town saga. Let's pull back for a second and dive into what's been simmering beneath the surface. Because Havens Cove is a pressure cooker, and the heat's just been turned up. Ethan's been walking on eggshells, trying to keep his feelings for Mia locked down, but every interaction with her is like gasoline on a fire he can't put out. That morning in the diner, after Jake's question, Ethan catches Mia outside by the dumpster, where she's taking a moment to breathe. She's leaning against the wall, her eyes distant, and when she sees him, there's this flash of something, relief, maybe, or fear. We need to talk, she says, her voice low, and Ethan's heart leaps into his throat. But before she can say more, Sarah strolls up, all smirks and sharp edges, her phone in hand like she's been waiting for this moment. Well, isn't this cozy? Sarah says, and there's a bite to her words that makes Ethan's skin crawl. Sarah's been circling like a shark, dropping hints that she knows something about Mia and Ethan, and now she's got that look in her eyes, the one that says she's holding a match and she's ready to light it. Mia stiffens, her jaw tight, and tells Sarah to back off, but Sarah just laughs, saying, You can't keep secrets in this town, Mia. Not from me. Ethan's caught in the middle, his mind racing. Does Sarah know about the beach? Is she the one sending those texts to Mia, or now to him? And why does it feel like she's enjoying this a little too much? You're probably wondering what Sarah's game is, and let me tell you, she's not just a jealous ex-friend stirring the pot. There's something deeper, something tied to a grudge from years ago, and it's about to make this love triangle a whole lot more dangerous. Now, here's where the stakes get higher, and the ground starts to shift under everyone's feet. That same afternoon, Jake's auto shop gets hit again. This time, it's not just a broken window. Someone spray-painted "sell or else" across the garage door, and Jake's livid, pacing the lot with a wrench in his hand like he's ready to take on whoever's behind it. Ethan's there helping clean up, but his mind's split between Jake's anger and that text he got earlier. He hasn't told Mia about it yet, but he's starting to think those messages aren't random. Jake, meanwhile, is spiraling, talking about how the developer's goons must be behind this, how they're trying to scare him into selling the shop that's been in his family for decades. But there's something else in Jake's voice, something Ethan's never heard before: doubt. You ever feel like you don't really know the people closest to you? Jake asks, tossing the wrench onto a workbench. Ethan freezes, his mouth dry, because for a second, it feels like Jake's talking about him and Mia. But Jake keeps going, saying he's been finding weird stuff in the shop. Cash missing from the register, invoices that don't add up. He thinks someone's stealing from him. Someone he trusts. Ethan's gut twists, because Jake's looking at him, and even though it's about the shop, it feels like a test. You're probably thinking, is Jake onto them? Or is this about something else entirely? And that's the beauty of this mess. Every clue, every question, is pulling you deeper into a web of betrayal, secrets, and small-town drama that's about to explode. Here comes the twist, and trust me, you didn't see this one coming. That night, Ethan's at his place, a cramped apartment above the town's only bookstore, when Mia shows up unannounced. Her hair's a mess, her eyes wild, and she's clutching her phone like it's a lifeline. I need to show you something, she says, and before Ethan can ask what's wrong, she thrusts the phone at him. It's a photo, grainy but clear enough, a picture of her and Ethan on the beach the night before, their hands almost touching, their bodies too close for it to be innocent. The text attached to it reads, "Tell Jake, or I will." Ethan's world tilts, because this isn't just a prank anymore. This is someone watching them, someone who knows exactly what they're risking. Mia's shaking, her voice barely above a whisper as she admits she's been getting these texts for weeks. Not just the cryptic ones about leaving town, but others more specific, hinting at her feelings for Ethan. She thought she could handle it, thought it was just someone trying to scare her, but now it's real. Ethan's mind is racing. Who took that photo? Sarah? Someone working for the developer? Using their secret to pressure Jake? Or, here's the gut punch. Could it be Jake himself, testing them, waiting for them to come clean? Mia swears she hasn't told anyone, not even her closest friends, but there's something she's holding back, something in her eyes that says she's not telling Ethan everything. And just when you think it can't get worse, Ethan's phone buzzes again. Another text, same unknown number. She's not who you think she is. You're probably screaming at your screen right now, wondering who's behind this, what Mia's hiding, and how Ethan's supposed to keep it together when the walls are closing in. Let's zoom out and weave in those subplots, because Haven's Cove is a powder keg, and every spark is bringing it closer to detonation. Sarah's not just a bystander. She's been digging into Mia's life, asking questions about her time in San Francisco, dropping hints that Mia left the city under a cloud. There's a story there, something about a client Mia worked for, a project that went south, and whispers of money that disappeared. Sarah's been talking to the locals, stirring up gossip, and it's starting to paint Mia as someone who can't be trusted. Meanwhile, Jake's dealing with more than just the vandalism at his shop. He's been getting calls from a lawyer representing the developer, offering him a deal that's too good to be true, but with a catch. If he doesn't sell, they're threatening to dig into the shop's finances, and Jake's worried they'll find something he can't explain. He hasn't told Ethan or Mia yet, but he's starting to suspect someone close to him is leaking information to the developer. Could it be Mia, desperate for cash after her failed stint in the city? Or Ethan, distracted by his feelings and missing the signs? And then there's the town itself, buzzing with rumors about who's behind the vandalism, who's selling out, and who's got secrets they can't afford to spill. You're probably feeling the weight of it all, the way every piece of this puzzle is connected, pulling Ethan, Mia, and Jake toward a collision they can't avoid. The tension's unbearable now, isn't it? Ethan's staring at that photo on Mia's phone, his mind a whirlwind of fear and questions, while Mia's pleading with him to help her figure out who's doing this. Jake's at home, oblivious for now, but how long can that last when someone's got proof of Ethan and Mia's moment on the beach? And those texts, those damn texts, are like a ticking clock, counting down to the moment everything falls apart. Ethan wants to protect Mia, wants to believe she's the same girl he's always known, but that message, she's not who you think she is burrowing into his brain. What doesn't he know about her? What's she keeping from him, from Jake, from everyone? And Mia, she's looking at Ethan like he's her only lifeline, but there's a shadow in her eyes, a secret she's not ready to share. The night ends with them standing in Ethan's apartment, the photo still glowing on her phone, and a promise to figure this out together, no matter what it costs.